Hello, Crystal Palace. Welcome to the Up and Norwood Library Hub's Library Lunch. This is a place to share positive and useful local information, find out about our lovely community in a bit more depth, and just try and keep us all connected during this time. So I'm really delighted to welcome my guest today, it's Jody Collins, who shares local news and events for bumps, babies and toddlers on social media under the name Mondo and Minikin. Jody, thanks so much for joining me today. It's lovely to have you. Tell us a bit about Mondo and Minikin and where did it come from?
Thank you for having me. So Mondo Minikin, it's essentially a one-stop shop that celebrates and shouts about all the wonderful things that are going on in our local community, as you said, for babes, bumps and toddlers. And it includes classes and sessions, but I also try and pick up on like kid-friendly hangouts and cafes, some of the things that are not so obvious, especially if you're new to the area or a new mum. And it's basically aimed at anyone that looks after children, so parents, grandparents, carers, childminders. If you've got a small person, then hopefully there'd be something on the page that is suited to you.
Awesome. And saving people having to go and search for it all themselves on social media, which can be really quite overwhelming.
Absolutely. And that is actually where it came from because, like everyone else, my world got really small in lockdown. You're trapped in the house with kids and I was desperate to get out. And then trying to find the information is so tricky. As you said, you've got to mine all that social media, all those recommendations, some websites aren't up to date. So hopefully I'm doing that for you so that you don't have to do that. Not sure what I've got myself into, but that's the plan.
So this is really new.
Yes, it's only actually probably two and a half weeks old.
Wow.
Yeah, it's brand new, and we've already got a really nice, active following, small but active, I like to say. And yeah, I'm just growing it at the moment and trying to get people aware because it's a funny thing. I said this to you before we went live, is that I'm not selling anything. I just want to shout and promote other people and what they're doing in the area. So it means that I get to know them, I get to take my kids to all these fabulous things as well, and it's hopefully a win-win for everyone.
You're sort of selling Crystal Palace, I think.
I am. Yeah, I am. I actually am always encouraging people to move here. My best friends who don't live here, they know who they are. They need to be here.
Yeah, my brothers spent a few years working on me. One of them moved here, and then he persuaded the other one here, and then they both worked on me until I moved here as well. So we've got like a Rastal clan kind of growing, and they've brought some of their friends, and I brought some of mine, and we're just taking over really.
Good work. Good work. I might have to recruit you.
So how long have you been in Crystal Palace?
I've been in Crystal Palace for 4 years, nearly 4 years, and I moved here when I was pregnant, and I knew no one. So actually, this is what I wanted and needed 4 years ago, and I've just got round to doing now. I've had my second child in lockdown, so
Wow.
yeah, I've taken on another project because clearly don't have enough to do. And so with my second son, I thought actually this is really what is needed, and well, I feel it's needed. So yeah, that's sort of what prompted me to start it really.
And there is actually so much stuff in Crystal Palace that is parent, carer, child friendly, isn't there?
There really is actually, and people don't necessarily shout about it. So from my favourite pub, the Sparrowhawk, there's a shout out. They are unbelievably child friendly. They don't say that on their website, but I as a local mum know that, so I want to tell other people there who might be nervous about careering their pram through the doors, or cafes and places that actually you wouldn't necessarily think would be kid friendly. I just want to tell people about like food markets and other things going on. So I try and be quite broad in my, in what I'm covering. But also I also try and make sure it's personal so that I'm not just promoting things that I don't believe in or I haven't attended or I don't know or know someone that knows, which is why it's quite time consuming because obviously I've got to go and check them out.
But then, as you said, it kind of fits quite nicely for you because you wanted to do those things anyway. So it's sort of,
It is.
tying two things together.
Totally. My son is a really willing guinea pig, and my youngest son doesn't have a clue, but he's fine about it.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love that. Where did the name come from?
It's a good question. It's one actually I get asked quite a lot. I love the word Minikin, and I knew that it meant sort of small person, and then I like the play on words of Minikin, because that's essentially what our kids are, our Minikin. And then Mondo means big, so essentially it just means big and small in a bit of a cute package. So that's where Mondo and Minikin came from. And also I didn't want to, because I'm shouting about Crystal Palace, but often, you know, I will stray into other borders and go down to Sydenham and Dulwich and where things are happening, especially if they're locals. So I didn't want anything that sounded too specific to Crystal Palace, and I wanted something that was just a bit of fun, really. So that's where it came from.
Amazing. I think Mondo for me also has a kind of world connection, and there's something nice about the idea of a small world. We do have a small local bubble at the moment, don't we? And there's something nice about, I think one of the nice things about the current situation is that our local area has become our world, which and sort of allowed us to discover more about it, which has actually been really nice.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. This has encouraged us, you know, to sort of know what's on our doorstep. We live in, you know, London. It's a big city, and we have, you know, so many amazing things at our fingertips. Now the world has shrunk, and we're just sort of getting to grips with getting out and down our road. It's really nice. Our world, you know, our world is our community and our local area. So I think you're right, and that's really nice that you picked up on that, because I hadn't. I'll use it.
Please do. It's my gift to you from today.
Thank you.
Just before we carry on, I'm just going to say hello to everybody who's watching. So I can't always see all of your names because Facebook doesn't let me, but welcome. Thank you for watching. If you've got any questions for Jody or any comments, please do, or any suggestions of things that she should look into, actually, please do give us a shout, and we'll mention them as we go along.
I often ask and I do get recommendations, and then I do look into them. So yeah, if you've been to you know, a small STEM playgroup or a great cafe or a pub or whatever it may be, and you just thought that the people there were really lovely and, you know, it's worth a shout out, then I really would like to do that. So yeah, get in touch.
Brilliant. And that saves you a bit of time, actually, if people do that, doesn't it? We have the same thing.
Reasons I'm asking for this.
We actually have the same thing on the library lunch. You know, if people come to us, it just saves so much time, because going and searching for people it's really time consuming, and people are always more likely to say yes if you have some kind of a connection, I think. Great. So if you have any suggestions for us, let's do a swap afterwards.
Absolutely, I'll be happy to.
Brilliant. So you've sort of touched on this a bit, but is there anything else you want to say about sort of the aims and ethos behind what you're doing?
I think we have, and it is just about celebrating and shouting about, you know, our lovely community. I think, you know, times are hard, you know, COVID aside. So now just seeing the resilience and the passion, you know, from these individuals that are working so hard to entertain our children, and I just think, you know, they're working so hard to keep their businesses afloat, give us something to do, make sure it's all COVID safe, try and keep, you know, the lights on. That I feel a bit of a duty to shout about those people and make people aware of them, because they are working so hard for us. And yeah, we've touched on it, the community. We've got great community spirit here in Crystal Palace, so Mondo and Minikin is essentially an extension of that. And talking to people that wouldn't necessarily find it, because this is the thing, it's quite isolating anyway, pre-lockdown and isolation, being a parent, especially when you wouldn't have touched on any of these things. You won't know what heartbeats is or foxtrots, or you won't know. So to have someone tell you and then give you an honest and personal recommendation, which is what I try and do, and why I spend so much time curating these lists, and why I don't just flood my feed with loads of things, which I could do, because I have a list as long as my arm, but I try and cherry pick and then go to them, speak to someone that's been to them, so that it is a real recommendation and it's a personal recommendation. And it's the same with any sort of local suppliers that I work with. Equally, I've got to know them, I've got to know about their products and what their ethos is. So I try and promote like-minded, locally, you know, local businesses and people, really.
It must have been very, very challenging time. I mean, as you said, it already can be isolating being a new parent, and I know you've got two, but as you mentioned, you had your second one really recently, so it can already be quite isolating, I think. And to have that happen during lockdown must have had a real impact. So tell us a little bit, if you're happy to, about sort of what have been the challenges and maybe the positives for you of the last few months.
The challenges undoubtedly have been just that you are, physically more isolated. You can't go necessarily and see your midwives as you had in the past, or your doctor's appointments, and your scans have got to be on your own. So this experience is so beautiful and lovely, and you want to share it with your partner. You can't do that, and in the very literal sense, it is very isolating. And then all of these amazing resources that we have, the NCT groups, the baby and bump, the mum meetups, the pregnancy yoga, all these things that you do when you're pregnant to enjoy and relax and get ready for a baby, have all been stripped away. So I think that has been a challenge, but the positive has been seeing all of these people sort of come out of the woodwork and say, okay, we can't meet you face to face, and we can't deliver what we're used to delivering, we can't give you a hug, but how can we virtually do that? And so you've got amazing people like Stretch Mums, who are on my page, who she's pregnant herself and has been doing pregnancy yoga online in the morning, doing yoga from her garden with people. So there's people coming out, and there's NCT groups, that will meet virtually as we are now. And I just think all of that has been really amazing. They've been, working so hard to try and do all that. And that for me has been, something to celebrate. And I think now, with the rules being lifted, and then not lifted, but with things changing, I think it's just getting the confidence to get back out there and go to a group. I went to my first in real life group on Friday with my son, and it was really emotional. I said to my husband, like, just being in an environment, seeing other babies. I haven't seen any other babies of my baby's age, and just going, oh, he's really big, he's really small, he's really active. It was just so wonderful. So just to be out the house, let me tell you, was wonderful. So I think, the challenges are horrendous, and having the baby, I won't get into that, but there are a million different challenges there. But all I would say is that people just need to reach out and look sort of at what they are able, comfortable, capable of doing, and what they can do online, and hopefully ward off the isolation that way.
And it has been really inspiring, as you said, just watching what people have been doing. I've noticed it kind of more with some of the traders, I think, but just the way things have changed, and they've been suddenly more active on social media, some of them, and there's been all sorts of new ideas. And actually, you mentioned the Sparrowhawk. They came on the library lunch a few months ago, and that one of the things they said that really struck me was that they'd had this idea for a deli counter for years, and actually lockdown, they'd suddenly gone, actually, this is the time to do it. Let's do it. And they did it. And it's brilliant.
I think so. And it's totally the same for me. I've been saying this since I moved in 4 years ago, that I'd love this to exist. And then I thought, well, what am I waiting for? Because now more than ever, people need it. People need this resource. So I think lockdown has definitely encouraged people to be a bit braver with things. And as you said, just this interview alone terrifies me in real life. But because we're on Zoom and I'm in the comfort of my dining room, it's not that scary.
And actually, weirdly, I think that has been a positive. And I've noticed this with choir rehearsals online, that it's obviously not the same as in-person sessions. And I think the bulk of my choirs would love to get back to in-person sessions. But actually what it has done is allow people to take away the worry about putting other people off or of not sounding good, because actually it doesn't matter, because they're just singing to themselves in their own living room. And so I kind of think that when we come back together in person, people are going to be more confident about singing, because they've just got used to kind of hearing themselves on their own and worrying less about just about how they sound and whether it gets in the way of other people. And we just kind of more used to getting on with it and needing to record themselves and stuff in order to do any kind of performance. So I think I feel like it's opened doors that might stay, rather than just having to go from doing things one way to doing them a completely different way. We've kind of expanded the options.
Absolutely. And if there's some takeout there, that's great as well. If actually there are loads of sessions in person, but then there's a weekly online session for those that can't get out of the house or can't get childcare or whatever it may be, then that's good, isn't it? That's something else that we can enjoy.
Absolutely. And especially for anybody who doesn't want to leave the house, or I mean, there might be all sorts of reasons, and I imagine some people are going to be shielding still for a while. And people with, I don't know, mental health issues maybe that make leaving the house difficult, then the online offers a way of connecting, maybe still. That's it's going to be really interesting to see where it goes, isn't it?
I know.
So tell us but tell us about some of the things you've discovered in the last
I have
4 years.
I've discovered some absolute gems, actually. I really have. My door's going. I love the outdoor theatre that people are doing, Clip Theatre and at the Stanley Halls, where, again, making use of the outdoor space, making use of this lovely weather, and just bringing sort of theatre and music to kids. I've been loving all of that. I really have enjoyed the yoga classes, as I touched on before. There's a fantastic group called Fitbirds, who are with Shamey at the helm, who's massively passionate about getting women fit and active again, and does these great sessions in the park where you can strap your baby to you, you can get down there, they can crawl, they can run, they can be around, and you can get fit and meet other like-minded mums. That's lovely. What other things have I really enjoyed? Fox Tots, who are an absolute stalwart in Crystal Palace. Any mum that's been to Rosie's classes will know that she's so wonderful. She has essentially transformed her front room into this magical wonderland so that she can bring these classes to us. And I just, so I applaud that, and I love what she's done. There's a fantastic forest school called Foxglove, forest school that work out in Mayall Park. Again, getting kids active, getting kids into nature. I didn't know about them. I've only just discovered them myself, so we'll be getting down there and getting muddy. Other things, there are so many. This is the thing, there's ballet at the library, and I've got loads of really good stuff coming up, actually. I've got baby yoga, I've got choirs, I've got soft play edits coming up, because everyone wants to know about soft play edits that are COVID safe, so I've got that coming up. And I've got lots of other things, so keep an eye on Insta.
Excellent. Is there anything you've discovered that's really surprised you?
I think not the classes, because I think the classes are great, and obviously people, are working really hard to make them COVID safe, which is, which we would expect. But I think what surprised me most is just how lovely everyone is. It sounds so cheesy, but I've only been going for a few weeks, and the messages of support that I've had, people saying, this is what we need, we love this class, you encouraged me to do something that I wouldn't normally do, and I loved it. That for me has been really surprising, because I think people think that on Instagram or on social media, it's just people selling their wares, and because I'm not selling my wares, I've got no wares to sell. I think people have just been massively supportive and just thankful, and the individuals and the businesses that I've supported and shouted about have just been so lovely. I had a mud kitchen delivered to me, as you'll see from my grid.
Crystal Palace.
From Crystal Palace in Jimmy. He's amazing, and he was one of the first people to message me and said, "Good luck with your venture. Do you want to play with a mud kitchen?"
Oh.
And I've just find all these messages so surprising, because, as I said, I've got 2 kids. One's only 5 months old, so I'm tired. And there are times when I think I can't be bothered to, mine the internet, and I can't be bothered to put something out on Instagram. And then I'll get one of these messages and think, shame on you, get back on there.
Oh.
And that's been, I think, the most unexpected thing.
Yeah. Just as a little sideline, actually, since you mentioned Crystal Palace, because Jimmy came on the live lunch a few weeks ago as well. One of the lovely things that happened after that was that, because he also makes limoncello, and
he's a jack of all trades. Jimmy is all trades.
He really is. And I got this message after the library lunch saying that he'd left me some limoncello with Neil at Blowing Dandelion, who is a mutual friend. So I turned up in Blowing Dandelion to get a coffee, and I was handed a kind of bag of limoncello.
Oh my
as
goodness.
well.
That's
And it's really good, by the way, as well. So
I love limoncello, Jimmy, if you're watching.
Yeah.
Almost as much as I love my mud kitchen.
Well, I definitely recommend it, and he does just have a new batch because I bought some to get me through my quarantine the last couple of weeks. So give him a shout now. That's all I'm going to say.
I will. I definitely will.
Excellent. So what is your favourite thing about Crystal Palace?
Well, that's a really hard question, and one that I haven't prepared for. What's my favourite thing? I love that, you know, everything is in, you know, that our little square mile, our little triangle has just got such an eclectic, you know, and diverse set of shops and businesses and people, and everyone, you know, everyone really cares about what they're doing and is passionate about that. I think I love the fact that we have an everyman cinema. That makes me really happy. I love our beautiful park, which I'm at all the time. And I'm so pleased they've got a food market there on Sundays, which I was shouting about now, and it was fantastic.
That was the first one yesterday, wasn't it?
It was, and it was fantastic. And everyone looked like they had a lovely time, myself included. So yeah, I think I love the greenery. I love the fact that, you know, you can walk down Gypsy Hill and you can look out into the city and you can see, you know, we're perched up here on our pedestal looking down on the city, and I just genuinely love it. And I think I can't ever see myself leaving. That's the truth of it. And, you know, we are so happy here. And the road that I live on, I've never known my neighbours. I've lived in London my whole, you know, apart from periods, I've lived in London most of my adult life. And I grew up in London, and I don't think I've ever known my neighbours before. And now I'm having coffee with neighbours because of this Mondo and Minikin. People are messaging me saying, "Come over for a coffee. I want to tell you about this class I went to." So all of a sudden, I'm like getting to know all my neighbours, and it's just lovely. It's just lovely. So that's what I love.
I absolutely second all of that. Just a brief detour. I have to give a shout out to Christine, who's just sent us a comment on Facebook to say she's watching from Spain.
Hi, Christine.
Awesome. Thanks,
my
Christine.
sister might be watching from Spain with you, Christine. My sister lives in Spain.
Amazing. That's brilliant. So I've got a couple more questions for you, really, and one of them you've sort of just preempted, which was has setting up Mondo and Minikin actually given you a stronger connection with the local community?
Definitely. I now know the people behind the windows, the people behind the profiles, which I never knew. And again, you sort of think that, oh, it's just a big company, or it's a small company, but they're busy. And actually, no, there's just a person like you or I sitting, you know, in their lounge, the same as us. So that's been really, really nice, getting to know the people, hearing their stories, finding out about their families, how they've been surviving lockdown. So I definitely feel more connected that way. And do you know what? It's actually given me the confidence to talk to people. And I think this is the thing as well, parent or otherwise. It's hard to make friends as an adult. It's actually hard. But I said this to you about the choir. It's really hard to walk into a room where you don't know anyone, on your own, or even with your kid, and sort of go, "Hi, can I join your club," as it were. So this has given me the confidence to say, well, I'm doing a little thing on Mondo and Minikin. It gives me a bit of an intro to sort of say hi and put my foot in the door. And then you realise everyone is just like you. Everyone feels the same. Everyone has those shared anxieties. And
absolutely.
You've just got to put yourself out there. And if lockdown hasn't taught us anything, it's probably taught us that. When the doors open again, run through them and hug everyone.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, actually, because I found exactly the same thing with setting up Palace a Cappella Choir and Crib Notes Choir, and also doing the library lunch, is that those things have just given me an in to the community. So to just talk to people, and yeah, exactly the same. I've kind of gained community connections from doing that, just because, yeah, it makes it easier, doesn't it? It's not takes away the social pressure somehow, because you have a thing
to hide behind.
Well, but also something to offer. So you're offering these businesses and classes and everything a sort of a bit of an extra publicity boost, which especially right now everybody's going to be so grateful for.
I think so. And the funny thing is, actually, and just this is just a note to sort of individuals and businesses and suppliers, because I reach out to people and sometimes they'll read my message and not come back to me, and it's just an assurance that I don't want any payments or, you know, gift in kind. Obviously I'd love to come to your classes, but that's, you know, that's my pleasure, that's what I want to do. It's just, I just like to reach out to people in the first instance to let them know that I'm exploring their class or business, so they know that I'm going to post about it. So if I have messaged you and you haven't messaged me back, do look at the page, because it's all just to spread the word, really.
Yeah, awesome. I've got a message from Amandine. I just mentioned Crib Notes actually, and Amandine is one of the other 2 colleagues who runs it with me. And she said, "This sounds great. We're on our way to an appointment, but we'll listen to the whole interview when we get back."
Oh, thank you.
So, and they, Jake and Amandine, have the 3-year-old daughter, and they're actually expecting another one in a bit. So they are very much in your target market.
Follow us, Amandine. Follow us.
I think
she does. And I'm also going to be shouting about Crib Notes as well, because I love that there's a sort of a family-friendly choir that anyone, as you said, can belt out a tune. I'll definitely be talking about that on the page at some point.
Thank you, that's really cool. And we're hoping to maybe trial some in-person sessions again at some point, but at the moment we're online, so that's very easy to join. So final thing, because we're nearly out of time really, is just how can people get in touch with you? What's the best way? And presumably you're happy to hear from people who... I'm always happy to hear from people, and I always try and respond to everybody. Just give me a day or so to do it. But yes, if you have something you want to say, or someone you want to recommend, or you just want to get in touch, probably the best way is to direct message me at Mondo_and_Minikin on Instagram, or on Facebook. I've got a group and I've got a page. I'm not massively Facebook savvy, so Instagram is my preferred choice, but I will receive them all, so do get in touch. Brilliant, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and especially given what you said about finding it nerve-wracking. It's been really lovely to chat to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been lovely to be here.
Brilliant. Well, just before we finish, a couple of little things to mention. So as always, as you guys probably know, if you're watching, we have quite a big live stream program. Please do check it out. There's loads and loads of different things. And since we're talking about choirs, actually, we have a Crib Notes choir session that will go live on the Up and Norwood Facebook page at 5:30 this evening. So this is continuing our South African folk song. Please do jump on and just sing along from home, and all the details of kind of how to find the scores and rehearsal tracks and things, if you want to catch up on what we've already done, it'll all be there. What else? We're still looking for people to fill in our survey for our All Alone Together oral history project. This is sponsored by the Arts Council. We're looking to find out how the pandemic has affected the local community. So the survey is really, really short. It's 4 questions. The more people who fill it in, the more useful data and evidence we have about how you've been impacted, and the more we can help to do something about it, and inform how things go forward. So please do fill that in. If you are happy to be interviewed and actually be part of our podcast, then there is a box to tick to say you're happy to be interviewed. And I would love to chat to you if that's the case. The interviews take about an hour, and it really is kind of a bit like what Jody and I have just done. It's very much an informal chat, just talking about how your life and work have been impacted, and really what you're happy to talk about. We obviously won't talk about anything you don't want to talk about, and I'll very much be guided by kind of what you want to say. So that would be fab. If you are interested in being on this show, again, very informal chats, we would love to hear from you. As we were saying earlier, it really makes our job very much easier if you come to us rather than us having to go and find people. So please do give us a shout. The email is Galina.Rin @unlt.org. And then finally, there's a box, I'm not sure which way it is, but there's a box that will just tell you how much money money we've raised so far for the Library Hub. This is all through donations. At the moment, we are starting to get back to small group classes, but actually most of the Library Hub money support comes from being able to rent out the rooms, which at the moment, obviously, we can't really do very easily. We can't do the big scale kind of parties and events, and all the classes are very small numbers. So it's from a financial point of view, you know, anything that you can spare would really help us. So cup of coffee, for example, would be great equivalent of. I think that's it from me for today. Tomorrow we have Briar, who is one of the Library Hub trustees, who's going to come and talk to us. In the meantime, it's boiling hot in this room. I hope you guys can enjoy the sunshine. And yeah, take care. We'll see you soon. And thanks again, Jody, for joining me. It's lovely to chat to you. Bye for now.
Bye.